Welcome back everybody to another episode of our weekly Moto News Roundup, where this time around we've got loads of news from Triumph, a new Supermoto from Ducati, potentially the return of the H2, and some good news for Suzuki fans in the US. Then we've got one heck of a giveaway for the summer. I can't wait to tell you about the price for that. New bikes from KOVE and CFMOTO, and our regular slots of comment, ride and custom of the week. But before we get started, a massive thanks to Break Free for supporting the channel and sponsoring our news coverage. And if you've ever been curious at all about this brilliant safety product, then as always, there are links down in the description below. But look, let's get stuck into some of that Triumph news with some fresh paint jobs just announced this week for the 2027 model year. And so let's rattle through them and see what they've got in store. First up, the Scrambler 400X, which now gets a new matte pewter grey and matte khaki green. So a little bit like last time out, but a touch more moody as they've removed the white stripe across the tank there. Then the more road-focused Speed 400 gets a new red paint job too, with a bit of a darker look for that oversized Triumph logo on the tank, and also a pewter grey section at the back there. I'm rather liking though this new Tiger Sport 800. It comes in sapphire black now with some grey panels as well, but also a splash of their racing yellow for a little bit of pizzazz. And then both of the Rocket 3 variants get two new colorways each, so zero carryover for 2027. The more sporty R version now comes in ironstone or sapphire black and graphite. But then for the more laid-back GT version, well, we've got mineral grey with a bit of Diablo red, or a new base marine it's called, which I think is a little bit different for the Rocket, but I will say quite like that one. The headline act though has to be the new Speed Triple 1200 RS, which is now available in this Maui blue, complemented by some orange accents, and it's got a couple of black panels on there for a touch of contrast. For me, a bike like that, you know, something more performance biased, should have a bit of vibrance about it, and so I think that one looks potentially the best of the bunch there. Triumph say all of these bikes should be in dealers from August 2026. But I've got to say, I'm very excited for this next one, a new TFC or Triumph Factory Custom version of what I think is one of the best bikes in their entire lineup. Now, generally, TFC editions take one of the existing bikes in the lineup and then really soup them up with the best of the best components, and then gives them a special level of finish with a black and gold color scheme, accented usually with a little bit of carbon. And the most recent bike to get the treatment was the Bobber last year. But next up, according to these Australian type approval documents, well, it looks like it's going to be the Speed Twin 1200. Now, according to the specs in this filing, well, the engine stays exactly the same with 103.5 horsepower peak. And to be fair, much of the chassis spec on the Speed Twin 1200 RS is about as good as it gets. But this TFC does get an upgrade to a fully adjustable Öhlins upside down fork, and on top of that there's a set of clip-on style bars which are available as an accessory for the base bike, but of course would be standard fit on this TFC. Now these ones as well would get their limited run number etched into that top yoke, with just 750 expected to be made. And then a couple of last differences: they've got the Akropovich slip-ons and also said dedicated finish with the carbon components. It looks like the mud guards and the heel guards. For me, not entirely sold on those Akropovich silencers on this one. They don't really have like the classic round shape, which I think best suits this style of bike. But along with some of the other changes, it does look like this bike is set to come in a decent amount lighter as well than the standard RS. As for price, well, the last one, the Bobber TFC, was a smidge over 17 grand. I think the Cafe Racer limited edition of the Speed Twin 1200 came in around 16. And so yeah, I'd probably expect something in that sort of 17 grand region for a TFC Speed Twin like this. On top of that, Triumph have also started to show off some of the entrants for this year's Triumph Originals custom build competition. 7 builders will compete across the globe, with the first 2 showing off some seriously cool looking custom scramblers. The first one is from BVL Garage in China with an 80s inspired take on the Scrambler 900, and then this one And the second comes from South Garage Motorco in Italy with a bit of an adventure-ready looking desert rally-inspired build, this time based upon the Scrambler 400XC. Still more to come, so do follow Triumph on their social media accounts to see them as they're announced, and also there is a dedicated part of their website. Meanwhile, it's just been World Ducati Week in Misano, a chance for the most dedicated of Ducati fans to get together and share their passion, and Ducati marked the occasion with a new bike announcement in the form of this awesome looking Supermoto. I mean, they had to come up with something. It is their centenary after all, and I think it's fair to say this race-ready Supermoto fits the bill perfectly as something suitably exciting. Now, it is just a preview at this stage, or a prototype. But of course, when it is built, it'll be based upon their existing Desmo 450 dirt bike platform. But naturally, with this particular adaptation, you've got the 17-inch wheels front and rear, and also some track-ready tyres. The brakes have also been upgraded with a bigger disc and also a radial Brembo caliper. And they go on to say that the production version will get a specific suspension setup and also tweaks to the engine and tweaks to the bodywork. Question is though, well, could a road-going version also be in the works? They did just make their Enduro 450 road legal as well. But I will say they've already got the 698 Hypermotard and V2 Hypermotard in the lineup, so maybe 3 would be too much of a crowd. But I guess we'll find out in the coming months, especially as we roll around to the launch season. Anyway, over at Kawasaki, well, their Ninja H2 has been out of the lineup in Europe for a few years now, since Euro 5 emissions came in back in 2021, but it does look like it might be about to make a comeback with new 2027 type approval documents recently filed with both the EPA and the California Air Resources Board. And thing is, some of the specs in those documents reveal that the peak power figure will now come in at 197 horses, which is quite a bit less, to be fair, than the last version, which made 228. And it's probably no coincidence that 197 horsepower is the exact same figure as their ZH2 Naked. So it looks like they're going to fit it with that detuned version to get it to run cleaner, and that would open up the possibility to reintroduce it to European markets. But potentially a bit of a shame if you were looking at getting one in the US, because the same emissions regulations don't apply there, and so all you're really getting is a bike with about 10 or 15% less power. Still, to make it up to the US biking public, we've got some good news from Suzuki in that their new SV7GX Sports Tourer is going to be made available in the States. I mean, maybe not quite the same levels here as the H2, with this one being based upon their long-standing SV650 platform, but all the same, it does look like it could make for a really affordable little sports tourer. And it's certainly a bike that I've been very keen to get hold of for review. Now, the price? Well, in the UK, it comes in at £6,999, so pretty much undercuts most of the competition, like the Tiger Sport 660 or the Tracer 7 from Yamaha. And it does sound like it's going to be similarly good value in the US, with it starting at $8,399. That bike actually is a prime candidate for our new competition. I've called it the Summer Adventure Giveaway. And I think it's one of the best giveaways we've done to date, with a really serious package of prizes. Basically, with this kit of stuff, you could transform pretty much any bike. A budget new bike like that isn't particularly techy, an older bike perhaps that predates a lot of the latest innovations. And so I'd love to know from you guys, if you do enter, what would you do if you transformed your bike with this kit? The hub of it really is going to be the CHIGEE AIO-6, a brilliant system that centers around this full color display, so it gives you CarPlay, Android Auto, so you can sync it with your phone, but also it provides a hub for many other features, including front and rear dash cams, TPMS, OBD compatibility, so you get a readout from the bike, and also some brilliant security features like geofencing. And even if you have the dash cams connected, you can use the CHIGEE app to check in on your bike by streaming the cameras if you get like a vibration notification, for example. So brilliant peace of mind. We're also offering it though. Well, CHIGEE have contributed one of their new brilliant SR1 radar systems. So this is a rear-facing radar that you can fit to any bike, and it pairs with the AIO-6 and offers you blind spot warnings, which of course are super useful if you do a lot of motorway mileage, and also rear collision warnings, and not just alerting you as the biker, but also it's got an LED on the radar unit there, so it can warn the traffic behind you. Now, in order to make the most of some of the features like the CarPlay or Android Auto on the AIO-6, Ducati have also contributed one of their top-of-the-line PackTalk Pro headsets. And so yeah, you can stream your music, you can make phone calls as well, but also it's got their excellent mesh communications built in, so you can even use it as comms just to talk to your riding buddies as well. Then CFMOTO, the brilliant motorcycle-specific navigation app that uses their own algorithm to seek out twisty roads, well, that's CarPlay and Android Auto compatible, and so they're throwing in a lifetime membership so you can make the most of it on the AIO-6. And then last but not at all least, we've got ezCAN accessory manager from our partners at HEX INNOVATE. So this is probably the easiest way to install accessories like these, and also it means you're not cutting into the wiring of the bike to splice stuff in. It's genuinely a brilliant product. We'll send out either the bike-specific one like this Tigers for Triumph Tigers, or we can provide their ezCAN Pure, which is a universal accessory manager to be fitted to any bike. Now, we've got all of these products fitted to our own Tiger 900, which we go out and film on, and I've got to say, you really notice it, having all these safety features and conveniences when you hop off a bike with all this stuff and onto something more simple. I mean, it's not a necessity to go out and have a great adventure, but it sure as heck can make your bike feel fully featured and like the perfect partner for going away on a great trip. So to enter, there are links in the description below. There's a form. Like I said, I'd love to know from you what summer adventures you've got planned and where you take your bike if you got it kitted out with all this stuff. This one's running to the 7th of August, but I would say don't hesitate to get your entry in. And I'll round off by again saying a massive thanks to CHIGEE, Cardo, CFMOTO and HEX INNOVATE for putting together such a brilliant package of prizes. Next up though, we've got news from Chinese brand KOVE, who've built a strong reputation, I think it's fair to say, with their off-roaders, but it seems like they've got something a little more sporty in the works now. You see this one, the new 650RR, which was previewed last year at EICMA, well, it looks specifically quite interesting because it does buck the trend that we're currently seeing from the established mainstream manufacturers. You see, it's a 645cc inline-4 that makes 124 horsepower peak, and so it sounds a lot more like the super sports of 5 or 10 years ago, many of which have now been discontinued, like the R6 from Yamaha or the Gixxer 600. So yeah, quite interesting play from KOVE. As for the rest of the specs, well, it gets a KYB suspension setup, it's got a 6-axis IMU for all the latest rider aids, and it does sound like it'll get some neat little extras, like a built-in front-facing dash cam, which could actually be quite handy for this particular genre of bike, because a lot of track days won't let you mount cameras to your helmet, so it's one way you could capture your laps and maybe improve your riding. Now, KOVE say the aim is to compete as well in World Supersport with this bike. It's launching imminently in China, so should be out in the next month or so, but they do say it's coming to Europe for 2027 as well, so do watch this space for more details, including, perhaps most importantly, the price. I would expect probably it'll be EICMA this year. Also from China, it appears that CFMOTO are about to follow through on the promise of a new 250 sports bike, previously teased with this very punchy looking prototype, but also now there's a patent that's emerged in China that appears to show a production version. Now, our source said it's expected to use a 270-degree crank in a parallel twin, and so maybe think a smaller version of their 450 that's in their current SR sports bike and the 450 MT adventure bike, but with power levels that are expected to come in around 40 horses peak. There's also a little bit of a look at the styling with some winglets, of course, and also the chassis with a steel trellis frame and a steel trellis subframe connected in the middle by a cast aluminium midsection. Apparently, this is part of a growing trend in China to move away from single-cylinder powered bikes, which are now seen as a bit old hat. and more so towards parallel twins like this and smaller capacity inline fours. But look, if you weren't already taking Chinese bikes seriously, well, now could be a good time, with CFMOTO also announcing this week a long-term strategic partnership with BREMBO. And I think it's fair to say that BREMBO are one of the more established and respected brands in the automotive world, and so I think it's a significant move for CFMOTO, who largely up until now traded on, much lower prices than the competition. Could this be a sign that they're about to move more so towards competing on innovations and performance? I think potentially, and they do say in the press release that it's more than just a simple supplier arrangement. CFMOTO and BREMBO will work together on the co-development of braking solutions for future CFMOTO mid to large displacement motorcycles, whilst also expanding cooperation in technology innovation, racing, brand development and talent cultivation. In fact, just this week, Ducati's CEO Claudio Domenicali was speaking to MC News at World Ducati Week and saying that European manufacturers can no longer take success for granted. He's, of course, observed the development of Chinese products. I think it's fair to say that a lot of them are now almost on a par with stuff from European manufacturers. And he goes on to say that, well, European manufacturers cannot respond themselves by competing on price. It's a battle that they simply could not win. Instead, he suggests selling the entire experience, not just the bike, but also events like World Ducati Week and their owners clubs, track experiences, factory visits and all that stuff, to build a deeper connection with their customers around the history and prestige of their brand. He does also say he believes their sense of style is a key advantage over the upcoming competitors. And to be fair, Ducati, financially at least, seem to be in a very healthy shape over the past few years, so it seems like he knows what he's doing, but it will be interesting to see how that plays out over the next 100 years. Anyway, now time for comment of the week, where I pick my favorite from the last episode, and then at the end of the month I pick an overall winner to win a break-free unit of their choice. Last time out we looked at an electric sidecar outfit from Watsonian here in the UK, and of course it prompted me to question the potential range of such a setup being built on the Livewire S2, which is already quite limited. Still, the solution was actually obvious now I think about it, with Kresimir Veljak saying they should have added additional battery capacity into the sidecar. A fair point, and maybe you've actually hit upon a new innovation that could make electric motorcycle range actually look appealing. Also, a big thanks to everyone sending in pictures of their own bikes for Ride of the Week. This time I've gone with Mark Branton's 1982 Yamaha Seca 650. A very cool looking thing indeed, and it looks like a pretty good day for a ride as well. I'm loving the sporty, very flat bars on this one, but also it's not without practicality, of course, with the shaft drive and Mark's gaffer taped highway pegs as well, which might add a bit of comfort. Love to see these, so do send in yours to enquiries@motobob.cc, and we'll be back with another one next week. Last up though, we've got Custom of the Week, and I have seen quite a few CB750 Hornets recently, sort of filtering into the custom scene, but I wouldn't say any as eye-catching as this one, which is by Moto Crew and spotted on Bike Exif this week. Now they call it an urban tracker with a very stripped back low look, some super slick looking custom pipes, the number board front end as well, some very lightweight looking Rotobox wheels, but the cherry on the cake has to be that paint job with the sort of topographic pattern finished in some reflective paint, which really does pop in the darker shots here for a bike that I think it's fair to say looks unlike any other. Very nice indeed. As always though, I'd love to know what you think of this week's story, so do let me know down in the comments below. I'll also put a playlist on the screen of last week's videos, a roundup of the best sports touring helmets on the market for 2026, and also a review of Triumph's Tiger Sport 800 Tour. Do hit subscribe for more of the latest motorcycle news like this right here on MOTOBOB. A massive thanks for watching today, and we'll see you in the next video.